Happy First Friday and welcome to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, a sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio. Nathan Zagura and Gibby. Gibby, how come you're not in here today?
Uno's downstairs. We got pressers.
He's off his game.
The head coach is coming.
Good news is you were going to hear from
point.
the betting favorite to be the 2023 NFL Coach of the Year, Kevin Stefanski, in just a few moments. Hopefully we'll shed some light on what the plans are for the Cleveland Browns this week against Cincinnati. I think it's pretty clear the Browns are going to be very judicious and rest a lot of their key players as they get ready for this playoff push against whoever the AFC South champion ends up being. But for now, we're kind of in a little bit of a wait and see. Again, I wouldn't expect any of the big names to play. I think that the Browns, obviously, they have had a great year. You know, we went through it the other day. Oh, look at this. Look, Swag's back.
Oh, I
He's
saw him
ready.
walk by earlier.
Look at that
He looked
vest.
like he was in some catalog.
Oh, yeah, that's a catalog look for sure. And that vest is beauty, resplendent, absolutely delightful. That gives you a little bit of a boost here on a First Friday.
Coach is up.
And here is the head coach of your Cleveland Browns, Kevin Stefanski.
You're down.
Okay, excited for the opportunity. Go on the road, play a division opponent. Pretty unique to play a team in week one and then come back and play them in the last game. Obviously, they've had some changes. We've had some changes, but excited about the opportunity. We're going to use this opportunity to rest some guys. I feel like we've earned that opportunity with how we took care of business the previous week. As you guys know, with roster limitations, you cannot rest everybody. So our full intent is to go down there, play well, and get a win. That's really where that's our motivation. That's what we plan on doing. I think it's a great opportunity for some guys that haven't had a ton of playing time to get out there. Throughout this course of the season, we've had a lot of our depth play in these games, but this is another opportunity for some guys, backups, and some maybe younger guys to play. And it gives us an opportunity to see them, gives us an opportunity to see them compete. So I'm excited about that part. Jeff Driscoll will start at quarterback. Jeff's a guy with the system knowledge from Arizona, is helpful to get out there. And P.J. Walker will be the backup. He's been great for us. He started in games and won for us, but just felt like this was the right thing to do for the team in this particular instance, to give Jeff an opportunity to show us what he's capable of as well. So with that, I'll take any questions.
Flacco the only one who won't play?
Yeah, obviously, with the plans of resting guys, that's the intent. I would just caution with all of these, a lot of guys have to be ready to play. You can't rest everybody. So I'm not going to go through the roster exactly who's in, who's out, but just know that you'll have your inactives, and then you'll have a bunch of guys that are dressed and ready to play if necessary.
You come to the decision, and in terms of Joe, the consideration as to whether or not to keep the momentum going as well as he's playing, et cetera.
Yeah, I think it's important for us, again, use this as an opportunity to get guys rested and healthy wherever we can. So that's what we're going to do at a bunch of different positions. But you still practice. You still work really hard in this building to make sure that you maintain that sharpness.
I know you don't want to go down the list of guys, but can you just confirm that Miles, Mari, and Denzel will be among the three that do not play?
Yeah, I mean, you can use your best guess, but I'm not going to go position by position.
Kevin, I know you don't necessarily need him this week, but it's more important for the playoffs. But Elijah Moore wasn't on the pre-practice injury report. Is he progressing? Will he practice today?
He'll practice today. He's progressing well. He's still in the protocol.
When you have somebody like Miles that has an opportunity to win NFL Defensive Player of the Year, do you still rest him even though he could maybe get a couple more sacks this game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that Miles needs to do anything more on a football field to convince anyone how important he's been to our football team. Said it before, I'll say it again. I mean, he's the best player on the best defense in the National Football League. That counts for something. And I would say just talk to the coaches that he goes against. Ask them what they think about him as a player, the type of impact he has on the game. So we'll see if he plays on Sunday. But I don't think it should be a determining factor in any way, shape, or form.
You started Jeff Driscoll, so to get him, to see what he can do, can he be a possible backup in the playoffs, or is it just because you want to rest the other guys?
Yeah, I'd say fluid. Not going to name backups for the playoffs, but definitely want to see, give Jeff an opportunity to get out there and see what he can do.
What, any concerns about losing momentum?
No. Yeah, we again, this was something that we've earned this opportunity. We've earned the ability to do this, the flexibility to do something like this. We're going to utilize it. We're going to take advantage of it. But the guys understand that it's important that we handle this week. This week, we'll worry about next week.
Kevin, as you get ready for week 18 and 19, looking all the way back to July, 2 weeks ago, you feel good about how you've handled off days, rest days, all of this thing? Obviously, there's been a lot unforeseen. But.
Yeah, I think the guys, I think it's a credit to the players and how they've handled some of the different schedule things. We had a very early bye and then a very late Thursday night game that was unique. I think it was 12 straight games maybe in there after that bye. So, yeah, that's the NFL. You have to be ready to play on a short week and then bounce back and win the following week. There's uncertainty as to when we play our first playoff game. So those are all things that you just know are part of the NFL.
Is Obo going to practice?
Yes.
Do you know how limited he'll be with the back injury?
Yeah, we'll see how he does. Obviously, he's trending in the right direction. He's put in a ton of work. So it's exciting to have him back out there.
Any update on the kicker, Hopkins?
No update. Yeah, no update.
We've talked a lot. Different with Jake Browning playing quarterback.
I'm sorry, one more time.
How is Cincinnati different with Browning at quarterback?
Jake's done a nice job. I had Jake in Minnesota. He's a person I think very highly of. He's had a ton of success in his life, so not shocked by the success he's having this season. Really good football player. He's a winner, athletic, can make all the throws. I think he's running their offense really well. There are subtle differences to what they're doing with Jake versus what they're doing with Burrow, just schematically, but he's doing a really nice job.
I might have missed it, but did you say Elijah was out of concussion protocol?
He's in the protocol still, but progressing.
What does adding Roger Saffold give you?
Yeah, a veteran, a local kid, I found out. But a veteran that can come in here and give us good work. Excited to have him.
Ken, we talked a lot about Joe and his impact. Excuse me. He kind of joked around today that, if things had gone different, he could be the dad of some of these guys in the locker room. Did you notice him just being welcomed from day one? Did that surprise you at all? And is there an immediate kind of respect or reverence because the guy's been in the league so long?
Yeah, I think, and we kind of talked about this before, Tom, Joe's just himself. He's very authentic, and I think players see that and embrace that part of him. I don't think he's trying to be anybody different than he is. He walks in the building the same way every single day, has his coffee in hand. But I think the guys respect what he's done in his career, and you got to remember a lot of our players watched him play and they've watched him win a Super Bowl. So that matters when you talk about guys that are coming up fans of this football game.
Kevin, when you look at everything this O-line has been through, and I don't know how many more good things you can say about Bill Callahan, but can you just talk about the job that he's done this year to get guys ready?
Yeah, I think, I'd talk about Coach Callahan, Scott Peters, John DeCoster. Those guys have worked really, really hard to get guys ready to go. I think back to DeJuan stepping in there in week 2 when we lost Jack. So it's been all season long, and like I've told people, there's no switch that you can flip. There's no magic to this. You just have to work really hard at it with the players, and so the credit goes to the players first, and then certainly the credit goes to all of our coaches that have gotten guys ready to play. And I think the offensive line's been, a great example of whatever it takes to get a guy ready, we're going to do.
And Bill specifically, what has he meant to you in these 4 years in this building?
Yeah, Bill's been outstanding, as you guys know. He's a huge help to me in a variety of areas, not just in footballs and X's and O's, but he's his office is right next door to mine, a guy I lean on, but he does a great job, really in all the roles he plays for us.
It was really complimentary when you got this job, just talking about the impact that you had on him and things like that. But with him becoming available, do you guys maybe have room for another running back?
That's more a question for Andrew.
Clarifying how to handle the reporting situation. do you guys just do everything the way you've been doing it, or do you have to do something?
Yeah, they sent out a memo on that, Mary Kay, and watched, or I say a memo, it was a streaming video, so it was both a memo and a video, but it was clarification. It was good. We've done it. We've reported eligible a lot this season, and I think our guys have done a great job. We go over it every week with them on how to do it, who to go to. It's a big thing. Go to the white hat. Don't go to the other officials. That's important. So it's something that we've done. We'll continue to do, and you're always trying to make sure that you're playing, or you're doing everything in your power to play within the rules.
Conversation that maybe, there was maybe some deception trying to be attempted there. Does that seem like a moot point, though, because the official announces anyway who is reporting eligible not only to the defense but to the stadium?
I think, it's just in general. I'm not talking about that play. Deception is part of our game. Play action is deception, and bluffing a blitz is deception. So that's part of the game. You're always trying to do it within the rules, and, so there's going to be times that come up where you're skirting or not skirting. You're getting close to that line. I don't know if that was the intent. It's unfortunate how that all happened, but we have to use it as a learning experience as well.
Good.
Okay, thanks, guys.
You're up.
All right, that's Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski at the podium there, and the big announcement, obviously, he didn't go through the whole roster, but we know Joe Flacco will not start in this game. He will not play in this game. Jeff Driscoll will be the Browns starting quarterback. P.J. Walker will back him up. Driscoll, a sixth-round pick of the San Francisco 49ers back in 2016, actually played for Cincinnati in 16 and 18, started 5 games for them in 2018. 1-4 as a starter, 60% completion, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks, and 82 rating. He also ran for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was the quarterback who came in relief of Andy Dalton in Cincinnati in 2018 against the Browns. That was his first extensive action in Week 11. The Browns won that one 35-20. It was another big Nick Chubb day. He threw for 155 yards and a touchdown, ran for a touchdown, and then in Week 16 of 2018, which was kind of that really fun game here in Cleveland, he was the starter for the Bengals in that game. And the Browns won that one 28-16. He threw for 133 yards and 2 touchdowns. So Driscoll will get to start in his career 1-9 as a starter. 59% completions, 2,228 yards, 14 touchdowns, 8 picks, 80.5 rating. Obviously, a little familiarity with the system. He said from Arizona. That's obviously Drew Petzing was there. And he's got 3 rushing touchdowns in his career as well, 384 yards rushing, 5.3 a carry. So Driscoll will get the nod, see what he can do, kind of fit into our offense. I think he's a quarterback whose skill set is certainly very attuned to the offense we are running right now with Joe Flacco, and I think that's probably why you are seeing him brought in here, and then seeing him not just brought in here, but seeing him come in and get this opportunity. He was asked specifically, was Kevin Stefanski, about Myles Garrett, said he doesn't need to do anything else to make his case for Defensive Player of the Year. And that is certainly spot on. Garrett does sit at 14 sacks. He's the only player in the league who's got 14 sacks in each of the last 3 seasons, and does have an opportunity with 2 sacks to join Reggie White as the only players in NFL history with 3 straight seasons of 16 or more sacks. I think that kind of history, though, is probably not necessarily what you are concerned with right now. This is a team that's made the playoffs. It's punched its spot. What you're concerned with is having Myles Garrett as effective as he can possibly be when we go into the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know if Myles would view that. Like I think it was probably a realistic goal at the start of the year, but
sure,
I think Myles would, Joe Flacco said it today, and we'll hear from him at 2:00, but guys want to play, but they also understand this is a chance to get healthy week.
Yep.
And like the second season starts next week.
Yeah.
Like you're 5 games away from the Super Bowl.
Yeah, this is what everything you've done. You've earned the right to be in these decisions, and I think one thing that is interesting, and I don't know how much it wasn't asked. At least I didn't hear it asked as implicitly as perhaps maybe I'll ask it when I get a chance to sit down with him. Is people are looking at the game. I think that this is because the outcome doesn't matter. It's not like you've got to give Jeff Driscoll every single rep like you would if this was a normal regular season game. My guess is it's going to be like 50-50 or even still the majority for Joe Flacco. The goal is, yes, you want these guys to play and compete and have a chance to win, but at the same time, everything you are doing should be for getting ready for what's going to happen as this season progresses. And now the good news is if you were Houston, Jacksonville, which feel like right now the most likely opponents, they both play 4-man front. It's similar in some ways in what they do. I think the Jags actually may play a 5-man front with Allen on one side and the guy who was the number 1 pick a year ago, Trevon Walker, on the other side. But you're going to be, I think, preparing somewhat for all of your possible opponents here this week and doing some stuff in practice. You'll know for sure next week, but you're going to take advantage of this to the best of your ability, I would imagine.
Yeah. You're essentially getting a bye week at the end of the season before the playoffs. I mean, some of these guys are going to be potentially off for 16 days.
Right.
That's a get healthy week. That's get healthy time.
Yes.
Because we need everybody up. I thought it was great news that Obo Okoronkwo is going to return to practice today.
How about Elijah Moore is practicing?
Elijah Moore is going to return to practice.
Yeah, so I got to see Elijah Moore in the locker room today. And, he and I have gotten along since the second I first sat down with him. I have a great deal of respect for him as a player. Obviously, like him a great deal as a human. And for him to be, okay was all that anybody cared about. And it was just great to get to see him. I mean, that's scary. That was terrifying stuff. When you see – so our vantage point is kind of we were across the field basically from where that happened. And so you knew he went down. You didn't know what it was. But when you see when he kind of made those movements, which were very scary, and you saw our players jump back from him and be like this, then you knew it was really serious. And then it became a very, very, very scary situation. So to be able to see him, say hello to him, and know that he is
he's trending towards coming back here.
Yeah, being able to practice, I think, is just a massive, massive thing. It's a great thing for the Browns, and it's a great thing for Elijah Moore, the human being, and his family, because I'm sure that had to be a terrifying situation for all involved, and it was. It was a very scary situation. Sometimes we get some scary situations here in this game that we all love so much. But big news there, we're getting healthier. Obo would be a big one to have back, especially with the way that Alex Wright has elevated his game. To be able to have him, we could have situations where you could really play 4 defensive ends out on the field together.
Correct.
Because Alex can go inside, Za'Darius and Miles can both go inside, and that would give you some things that haven't even been on tape yet. So that gives you some nice possibilities there. So good news on Obo that he would be back. You love to see that for the Browns. Really, it's an opportunity for young guys. This is one of those games where your tape is your resume, and you have an opportunity to put some stuff on tape that, when they're thinking about 2024, which the second this season is over, which hopefully is in the middle of February, that's what the focus will be on. This is the chance to say, hey, I want to be here in this program, and I want to be a part of what's going on here, and I want to show you why, with more opportunities, I can be even better. You think of some of the young guys like a Ronnie Hickman and a Cam Mitchell who have been given opportunities this year and have both played very, very well in them. That's what you like to see. So for a guy like Khalif Halassi, for Tanner McAllister, for Mahmoud Diabate, these are some real opportunity. A.J. Green, opportunity games. Tony Fields, to show what you're all about and what you think you can do for this football team. And that's really what this is about. And then for Jeff Driscoll, I'd say the stakes are even higher. I pointed out earlier, he runs a much more similar offense, or is comfortable in a much more similar offense to what we're running now with Joe Flacco than we ran with Deshaun Watson. And so he has an opportunity, I think, if he plays well, to maybe be the backup in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
I would agree with that.
I think that he's got probably the biggest stake of anybody in this particular game. And I think that is something certainly to watch, is how he performs, how he handles, this moment. He knows that. I think he knows what's at stake here.
He's a vested veteran.
Yep.
That guy's been around for a long time. He's seen a lot of football.
He's been in the league since 2016. I mean, in his 8th season out of Louisiana Tech, 6'4", 231. Good size, obviously, on him. And like we said, he's been around. He started 10 games. We'll see.
Hey,
we'll see.
Give him the start.
Just a good opportunity for him.
Yeah.
If nothing else, this is a great opportunity if you're, Jeff Driscoll. What a chance. This is what
At
that's
the
all you
start
could
of the
want.
year, you would have looked into your crystal ball and been like, We're going to start our fifth quarterback of the season.
Yeah.
In the final week of the regular season to go for win number 12. What part of that sentence doesn't add up?
Yeah. Well, you look at the other 11-win teams in the league, they've all had one quarterback.
Yeah.
We're going to have 5. I wonder if that's going to change things. I wonder if a team's ever started 5 and gone to the playoffs. Well, the first one, I think, that started 4 multiple games each.
Correct.
To go to the playoffs. But now to start 5, wild.
I would find it hard to believe.
Yeah, same. Same.
I don't know. I felt like it was a really good press conference in terms of we're getting guys back. You're getting, we saw Grant downstairs earlier today.
Yeah.
It was good to see him. And, hopefully these guys are getting closer. And
the guys that you really want Delpit back and you want Dustin Hopkins back for the playoffs. That's Dustin Hopkins.
No update on Dustin Hopkins.
No update on him, and nobody asked about Grant. Grant would be eligible, obviously, to come back. He looks great. I know he's in good spirits. Congrats to him on getting the new contract. Very well deserved. I think that there are a lot of people around the league that took note of his play this year as well. Yes, the Big L. The Big L himself. Let's go.
See.
Big luminary. Huge. Big. All right. When we come back, we're back at practice. Few roster moves. We've already gotten the idea of who's going to practice, so we'll go, kind of set the scene in case you're just joining us, and let you know what's going on before we get into meeting the Cincinnati Bengals. And again, this game meaningless for both of these teams. We'll go through again for you in the next segment the AFC South playoff scenarios, because that obviously is very important to what's going on here with the Cleveland Browns. That's who you're going to play. You're going to play whoever wins the AFC South when it's all said and done. All right, we are off and running on a First Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, a sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio. Be a part of one of the most passionate fan bases in the NFL. Join Next Gen STM presented by Ticketmaster. The official waitlist of the Cleveland Browns. Being a Next Gen STM is the best chance to become a season ticket member in future seasons. Visit clevelandbrowns.com/nextgenstm to reserve your spot today. Time now for our Hot Topics of the Day presented by Vivid Seats, an official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns. Browns back at practice today. The team has announced a few roster moves. They have signed defensive end Sam Kamara and guard Roger Saffold to the practice squad. Saffold, in his 14th NFL season out of Indiana, drafted in the second round back in 2010 by the Rams. He's made 2 career Pro Bowls, 2021 and 2022. Was a second-team All-Pro selection in 2017. And a local guy, graduate of Bedford High School back in 2006. So Saffold provides some depth along the interior. The Jets released him. He was a Pro Bowler last year, the last 2 seasons, and was not playing?
Yeah. Another head scratcher by the New York Football Jets.
I don't understand
I get
that.
it.
Well, I don't understand why he wasn't playing anywhere.
I don't have an answer for you on that.
Me neither.
I do know the following players will not practice today due to injury.
Okay.
Joel Bitonio, battling an oblique and a knee. Amari Cooper with that heel. Mike Ford Jr. with a calf. Dustin Hopkins, left hamstring. Kareem Hunt, groin. Greg Newsome with a knee. David Njoku with an illness. And Anthony Walker Jr. with a knee. And it's Wednesday, so remember that on the injury report. A lot can change.
Yeah, Anthony Walker, the people you're looking for to be back for the playoffs would be obviously Obo. He's practicing. That's a good sign. Awok, Delpit.
Oh, no, don't go dying on us.
Seriously. Awok, Delpit, and Hopkins are the ones that you're really looking for. Not concerned with Bitonio, Cooper, Ford, Newsome, Chief.
I think the Ford one is worth watching this week because that might require some guys to be suited up.
Yeah, I think you'll get A.J. Green up is my guess.
But
you can only elevate 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we talked about yesterday on the show, we talked about Kamara being elevated on the defensive line, but I don't know.
If you get Obo back, you don't need to. If you get Obo back, you don't need to. If you're going to need, you might need A.J. Green and Tanner McAllister. Now, if you're not going to have a guard, maybe that's why they got Saffold. They could elevate Saffold because my guess is Bitonio and Teller and Posick won't play. So Dunn, Harris, and either Whippler or Saffold would be your guards, or my guess. That's going to be tough. That's the thing. Roster constraints. You heard him say there are going to be guys who are inactive straight up, and then there are going to be people that are dressed that might, depending on the circumstances, have to play.
Sure. I mean, the good news is our punter is back.
Yep. Corey Bojorquez.
Under the radar move yesterday.
Yeah, and I think he's a guy that, you're going to get a lot of. He's a guy that's, I think, having one of the better seasons a punter is having in the NFL. So, yes, getting him back is good. Although I think Matt Hawk, you got to tip your cap to. I thought he punted very well for the Browns in his one game.
He had a great one game. Again, you're looking to put tape down.
Yeah,
you can send that to the 31 other teams in the National Football League.
No, you're right.
From our good friend Andrew Siciliano, Browns will join the 84 Bears as the only NFL teams to make the playoffs with 5 different starting quarterbacks. Browns will be the 6th team to start 5 QBs in a season. 3 teams did it during the 87 strike season.
So this is fairly rarefied air here, folks, is what we're dealing with. The Browns, give me that again. I'm going to put that right on here.
Browns will join the 84 Bears as the only NFL teams to make the playoffs with 5 different starting QBs. They will also be the 6th team to start 5 QBs in a season.
That's wild.
3 teams did it during the 87 strike season.
Yeah, but right, so throw those out. So really you're one of 3 teams. Amazingly, 2 of the 3 teams that have ever had to do it have made the playoffs. That's pretty wild. That's an incredible stat there. That is nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts. All right, so when we were talking about, so we got those moves for you, those roster moves. We've got those injury updates for you. Again, Obo and Elijah Moore are practicing for the Cleveland Browns. Bitonio, Cooper, Ford, Newsome, Njoku, Anthony Walker Jr., Dustin Hopkins, not practicing for the Browns. The guys we're watching for the playoffs, Anthony Walker, Delpit, who's on IR, so he couldn't practice, but you'd love to see his practice window open, as the Jags just did for Christian Kirk, one of their leading receiver. So that's kind of where you're at from a health standpoint. Again, Matt Hawk, on his way out of town, brought in by Bubba Ventrone, did a great job. Ventrone had him last year in Indy. All he did was average 52 yards a punt, 42 yards net. Tremendous. He did a great job. Great job for the Cleveland Browns. So AFC South scenarios, again, for those of you just joining us. Number one, if the Jacksonville Jaguars at Tennessee defeat the Tennessee Titans, they are in. Do we have that? Vrabel? Do the people have that?
Did you tell Paulus? Paulus, you should check the CBD folder. You got it?
Let me get it.
All right.
Let
So
me get it.
the Jags are at the Titans. Las Vegas's take on that one is that the Jags will win this one handily. Mike Vrabel, though, he's pretty adamant that his team is going to come out and compete because of this.
Expand on. Because it sucks to lose, Gentry.
Trey, ever need to show you anything?
Did you have another thought, or no? I'm just curious.
Well,
It sucks.
is not.
Losing. Awful. That's why I want to win. Because you don't sleep. You want to win for the players that bust their tail. That's it.
He's already been apologizing today in his press conference.
For that?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Just because he kind of went at the guy a little bit?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
I mean, he did kind of go at him a little bit.
Look, he's not used to losing.
No, and he doesn't like it.
No. I mean, I get it.
Nor should he. So
I'm going to tell you right now, if you think that he's going to allow the Tennessee Titans to lay down to the Jacksonville Jaguars,
no,
I don't think that's happening.
No,
on Sunday.
that's certainly not happening. Those guys are playing for their right to stay in the National Football League, a lot of them. So you've got the Jags. They play Sunday at 1 o'clock. They will know who we will know by Saturday night. It's either the Browns, it's either the Jags, or the winner of this game, which is Saturday night, Texans and Colts. And the winner of that game also has a very good shot to make it into the playoffs as well. Even if the Jags win the division, the winner of Texans-Colts, I think, is in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. Let me pull that back up. We did this yesterday, but here you go.
I think the Texans, yes. The Colts, I'm not
sure.
So
the Colts get it. They win the division with a win and a Jacksonville loss. We knew that. They clinch a playoff berth with a win. Houston is the one who needs more help.
Gotcha. All right.
Houston clinches a playoff berth with a win, a Jags loss, and a Pittsburgh loss or tie. Now, they win the AFC South with a win and a Jags loss, so then that must mean they need a win, the Jags to lose, and Pittsburgh to lose to get in that way.
Did Houston lose to Pittsburgh in the regular season?
No, they beat them head-to-head. Smoked them week 4 in Houston.
30-6.
Houston is ahead of Pittsburgh based on head-to-head 1-0. So I don't understand why Houston has to
that doesn't make any sense.
Why Houston needs Pittsburgh to lose. But that's what it says. Houston clinches a playoff berth with a win, a Jacksonville loss, and a play. I think this is wrong.
Where are you getting your information from?
Because the second part isn't it doesn't matter about if Houston wins and Jacksonville loses, they win the division.
So Pittsburgh's 6-5. They're both 6-5 in conference play. I
know, but my point is there shouldn't be a scenario that involves them clinching a playoff berth with a win, a Jacksonville loss, and a Pittsburgh loss or tie. That doesn't exist because if Houston wins and the Jags lose, they win the AFC South. Houston.
Correct.
The winner of this game on Saturday night between Houston and the Colts, which is in Indianapolis, the winner of that game will win the AFC South if they'll win the AFC South. What it should say is Houston can get in. It's got to be something with Indy. Well, if Indy does lose, if they beat them, they play them. I don't know. Because right now, the seedings are Indy is the 7, Houston is the 8, and Pittsburgh is the 9 of the 9 and 7 teams. So if the Jags win and the Texans win,
Hey, okay, so this is from ESPN.
it feels like whoever wins,
Houston clinches the AFC South title with a Houston win
Jags loss.
or a Jags loss. How the Texans can clinch a playoff berth: Houston win.
Right. Yes.
Or Houston tie plus Jacksonville loss and a Pittsburgh loss.
Yes. Right. So here's the deal. So the Steelers might only make it over Buffalo. Is that right?
So the winner of Colts Texans is
in. Yes.
Because the Colts also can clinch a playoff berth with
a win. Yes, that's what I thought. All right, so this site has it wrong. That's what I thought.
Yep.
So
the Steelers need a million things.
So the Steelers need to win. Oh. The Steelers need Buffalo to lose. They need Jacksonville to lose. They need Houston or Indianapolis to tie.
I don't. It's a long shot.
They get in, I think, straight up if they win and either Buffalo or Jacksonville lose. So Jacksonville might not be in the playoffs unless Pittsburgh loses. If Jacksonville loses, they could go from being AFC South champ to out.
Yeah.
Okay. So Pittsburgh gets in if they win and Buffalo or Jacksonville lose. They're in as a wild card. Winner of Indy Houston is automatically in as a wild card.
Correct.
The other spot that's open really is the Buffalo Pittsburgh one.
Yep. Buffalo needs to win.
Right.
Because otherwise,
because Miami's in the playoffs.
Yeah. Buffalo wins, they clinch the AFC East.
Yes.
If the Bills
and then Miami would be the automatic 6.
How the Bills can clinch a playoff berth: Buffalo tie or a Pittsburgh loss and tie, or a Jacksonville loss or tie, or Houston and Indy tie.
Ties, yeah. No.
So one of those three things would have to happen.
Right. What if Buffalo wins, Miami becomes the 6th seed, and then it's all about the 7 seed, which could be, in that case...
Well, it's going to be Houston or Indy.
Houston or Indy. Right, exactly. If Jacksonville wins. If Jacksonville loses, then it could be...
It gets complicated.
Jacksonville or Pittsburgh could get in. So it's still a little bit wide open here.
Yeah, still some work to do.
Yeah, I can't believe they had this wrong on here. This is right off of the NFL. No, wrong, erroneous, erroneous. Somebody get that thing fixed there. By the way, did you see we were talking about? And I don't think I'm jumping ahead. There's not an around the league. Okay, here we go. The owner of the Panthers was fined
$300K.
Based on his net worth, that's the equivalent of fining him like just over $1.
Yeah. And I mean, is there some kind of tax write-off because it's probably going to NFL charities?
I don't know.
I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, it either has to be something like maybe suspend him for them going to games for the rest of the season, which is one game. It should have been something a little more grand than $1.
I mean, all we heard yesterday was the NFL is going to make an example. Like, we can't have people throwing things out of their booth at fans. Like, you got to be better than that.
No, especially
the owner.
Right, exactly right. No, you can't have that. All right, when we come back here, we're going to meet the Bengals. And again, this game doesn't mean anything for them either. So who knows what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates to Forrest Gump. Never know what you're going to get. We don't know when we go down there. Oh, well, we'll see what we can do. All right, we'll meet the Bengals when we come back. Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, a sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. All right, Gibbe, before we get into meeting the Bengals, some hot off the presses.
Real hot
off the presses from NFL PR guy Brian McCarthy. Pro Bowl games rosters announced at 8 o'clock Eastern tonight on NFL Network via NFL 345. Here are the top vote getters as voted on by fans. Remember, players and coaches voted December 29th. Each group's votes, fans, players, coaches, counts as 1/3 toward determining the Pro Bowl players. So, all right, Gibby, what do we have on here? Top 5 vote getters overall, and then position by position for each conference?
Correct. So your top 5 vote getters, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, Tua, George Kittle, Travis Kelce.
Okay.
Swifties, pushing him over.
Well, he's also been the best tight end in the league for like a long time.
I'm just saying, maybe our guys had just as good a year.
Listen, we'll go through this and then we'll talk about our team. I think
right.
we're gonna have a significant number of Pro Bowlers. I said yesterday, best case scenario up to 10. I think between Pro Bowlers and alternates, I think we could have 10 people as Pro Bowlers and alternates.
So again, this is the fan vote results.
Just
so
fan
this
vote.
is only a third of it.
And it just tells you the top at each position.
Yes.
One person.
But the Browns are represented nicely.
Yep.
AFC, quarterback, Tua. NFC, Brock Purdy.
Yep.
Running back, AFC, Raheem Mostert.
He
Miami
deserves to be
these boxes.
You guys got 21 touchdowns. He deserves to be a Pro Bowl.
I'm getting to the rest of them. Hold on.
Well, yes, Miami is stuff. I'll do the Miami count right here. That's 2 Miami already.
McCaffrey from San Fran
on
the NFC side. Fullback, Ingold from Miami. Ding. That's number 3. Juszczyk from the 49ers.
By the way, so far it's been all Miami and 49ers.
Correct.
That's going to continue. The Niners are going to have more than Miami. So way more.
At wide receiver, Tyreek Hill, Miami. And Brandon Ayuk, the 49ers, the 2 leading vote getters.
I didn't realize that the Niners are the top at every single position on offense and every position but 2 on defense.
Pretty amazing. Tight end, Travis Kelce from the Chiefs on the AFC side. And George Kittle from the Niners on the NFC side. Tackles, Armstead from Miami and Trent Williams from the 49ers.
Yep.
Guard, AFC, leading vote getter, one Joel Bitonio.
Yep.
Let's go. Aaron Banks from the Niners on the NFC side. What's wrong?
I just can't imagine that Aaron Banks and Jake Brendel, like my dad certainly is not a fan of their offensive line, if he thinks that they would be Pro Bowlers. I have no idea.
Well, again, the 49ers and Dolphins have done a fine job taking advantage of the voting.
Yeah.
At center, Creed Humphrey of the Chiefs and Jake Brendel of the 49ers. We move to the defensive side of the football. AFC defensive end, leading vote getter, one Myles Garrett, Cleveland.
Yes.
The NFC side, Nick Bosa, 49ers.
Fair.
Real popular trend here going. Defensive tackle, Christian Wilkins, Miami, and Armstead, 49ers.
Okay.
Outside linebacker, AFC, Bradley Chubb, Miami.
Look,
well, he
should not be ahead of T.J. Watt. He should not be ahead of Alex Highsmith. I'm sure there are plenty of others I could go through, but that seems wild to me.
The NFC, Micah Parsons.
Yep.
Rightfully so.
Yep.
Linebacker, AFC, Quincy Williams, Jets.
Yeah, no problem with that. Yeah, no problem with that.
Fred Warner, San Francisco.
I think J.O.K. should be in there as an inside linebacker.
Yes. And the corner position, AFC, Jalen Ramsey, Miami. I'm not so sure about that.
Hasn't he played like a handful of games?
Correct. Charvarius Ward, 49ers.
He's having a good year.
The whole 49er team's going to the Pro Bowl if they don't go to the Super Bowl. If they go to the Super Bowl, they've got a lot of people to replace in the Pro Bowl.
Yep.
Strong safety, AFC, Kyle Hamilton of the Ravens.
Yep.
And some guy from Minnesota, the one position the 49ers don't have.
Josh Metellus.
There you go.
Okay.
Free safety, Javon Holland, Miami,
Yep.
AFC. NFC, Jesse Bates, Atlanta.
Former Bengal.
Who
He's great. He's a stud.
had a fantastic year.
Yep.
Specialists, kicker, AFC, Dustin Hopkins, Cleveland. Maybe you've heard of him.
So if he's won the fan vote,
I'm
he's
hoping
gotta
that's
make
only
it.
a third, but I'm hoping.
I mean, the coaches and players have eyes.
NFC is Brandon Aubrey of Dallas. We've gone like 3 positions in a row with no 49er.
Well, now we'll
Good
get back
news,
to
the
it.
next one is a 49er. 49ers punter made it, and Thomas Morstead from the Jets,
Yep.
who we saw last week.
Mitch Wishnowsky from the Niners.
Long snapper, AFC, Blake Ferguson, Miami, and Pepper out of San Francisco.
What about our guy Charlie Hewlett?
I was just going to say, I feel like he didn't get a lot of run and probably should have. Kickoff return, Braxton Berrios, Miami, Ray McLeod, 49ers.
Yep. Specialist.
And then final one, AFC.
Just like the special teams.
I was
cover
going to
guy.
say, is that just a specialist?
It's like a special teams cover guy.
Duke Riley, Miami, and Nick McLeod of the Giants.
All right.
49ers, not representative. Suck.
All right, so 3 Browns on there. Okay.
3 won the fan vote.
Yes. All right. So
That's a good sign.
all right, let's list everybody that we think can be either a Pro Bowler or an alternate. I'm going to start with locks. Miles is a lock. Joel Bitonio is a lock. Is Dustin Hopkins a lock at this point?
He better be.
All right, we'll put D-Hop as a lock. So those are our 3 locks. All right, then I think we've got a bunch of very worthy people.
Okay.
So in that very worthy.
You want to start on the offensive side? What do you want to do here?
Sure, we can go offense. Chief.
Yep.
And Amari.
I'd agree.
And then possibles as well, I would say Teller.
Yep.
And Posick.
I like that.
Okay.
Posick's played through a lot.
No, Ethan Posick hasn't allowed a sack since week 6. He's one of the best centers in the league. Period. Full stop. All right. Defense.
Oof. A lot of guys.
So this is just like guys that we think could be in the realm of doing it. Denzel.
Yep.
MJ Emerson.
Yep.
I think he's a must. JOK.
Yep.
Newsome.
Yep.
I'm going to add Delpit. I think Delpit got a lot of attention around the league.
I feel like one of our corners gets screwed there.
If MJ Emerson is not a Pro Bowler, it's a travesty.
I agree.
It's a travesty. If JOK is not a Pro Bowler, it's a travesty.
Like, not an alternate, an actual Pro Bowler.
Pro Bowler, yes. Not alternates would be bad, too. And then I'll add one more. I think, and maybe I'm wild about it, but I think Corey Bojorquez probably is in, like, the discussion, maybe.
I feel like you can make that argument. What about Dalvin?
I think to make it as a defensive tackle, you have to have you got to have more sacks than he had. He's been excellent.
Yeah.
He's been excellent. What I wonder with JOK is how is he listed? Because they're so weird about positions.
Is it linebacker? Is he
outside? Well, is it inside linebacker or outside linebacker?
Yeah.
If he's listed as an outside linebacker, he's unfairly competing with TJ Watt and Highsmith and all those 3-4 stand-up pass rushers.
Sure.
If he's competing against the off-ball guys like Quincy Williams, I think his resume is as good as anybody's. I mean, his tackles for loss are incredible. I think if I was doing it, here are the guys. I think the Browns should have 7. I think it should be Miles, Bitonio, D-Hop, Chief, Amari. Wait, I think they should have 8. Denzel, MJ, and JOK. And then obviously I think you get I think Teller and Posick are next, and then Delpit and Newsome and Bojorquez. I mean, I think there should be 8. I think there should be 8. Miles, Bitonio, D-Hop, Njoku, Amari, Denzel, MJ Emerson, JOK. I think those 8 should absolutely be Pro Bowlers for the Browns, which would be, I think, have to be a franchise record. We had like 6th in 2013.
I remember that.
It was.
Is that Cameron Jordan?
Jordan
Cameron.
So
Cameron
it was
Jordan?
the Hoff, Joe Hayden, TJ Ward, Josh Gordon.
Yep.
Jordan Cameron. And there's one more. I know there were 6. Somewhere I have that helmet signed by Pro Bowlers.
13? Is that what?
Yeah. "13 Pro Bowlers." Here we go. All
Did
right.
we say Hayden?
We said Hayden. Yeah, I don't need that stat. That's not a good stat.
Hayden, TJ Ward.
Phil Dawson. 2013, they had Joe Thomas, Joe Thomas, Josh Gordon, Jordan Cameron, Alex Mack, Joe Hayden, TJ Ward.
There
That
you
was
go.
6.
Okay.
I'm trying to look what the most ever was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in 1988. Hanford Dixon, Bob Golick, Bernie Kosar, Kevin Mack, Clay Matthews, Jared McNeil, Frank Minifield, and Cody Rizian.
Cody Risen.
Risen. My bad.
Great guard.
Yeah. So they had 8. 1969, you've got 8. Eric Barnes, Gene Hickerson, Walter Johnson, Ernie Kellerman, Leroy Kelly, Milt Morin, Dick Shafrath, Paul Warfield. You had 8 and 68 as well. Bill Glass, Ernie Green, Gene Hickerson, Walter Johnson, Leroy Kelly, Milt Morin, Dick Shafrath, Paul Wiggin. You had 8 and 67. Johnny Brewer, Gary Collins, Ernie Green, Gene Hickerson, Leroy Kelly, Milt Morin, Dick Shafrath, Paul Wiggin. 8 again in 66. So we've never had more than 8, I don't think. Jim Brown, Gary Collins, Gene Hickerson, Jim Houston, Frank Ryan, Dick Shafrath, Paul Wiggin, John Wooten. So that 8 would tie the franchise record if we could get 8 of them there.
Now, does that count the original
You
list
also
of
had 8 in 1955. Don Colo, Len Ford, Frank Gatsky, Abe Gibron, Otto Graham, Lou Groza, Ken Cons, Dante Lavelli.
Lou Fingers.
8 in 54. 8 in 52. And 7 in 51. So this would be, 8 would be, and I don't know if they did alternates and stuff back then, but.
No, because the Pro Bowl was at the end of the season.
Right. The most we've had recently is 5 in 2022. So that would have been, the 2022 Pro Bowl is actually after the 21 season.
So Jarvis?
No. Batonio, Chubb, Garrett, Ward, Teller. Jarvis made it in 19 and 20.
Okay.
"2018, our only Pro Bowler was Joe Schobert.
Well, I believe we won no games.
Yeah, in that season.
And that's how you get one Pro Bowler.
I didn't realize.
Joe the Show.
Joe the Show, 2017 Pro Bowl. Yeah.
Great human.
Yeah, good dude. Really good dude. All right, so that's where it is. Browns, I think you got an opportunity here. I think you got an opportunity to tie the franchise record with 8. And I think when it's all said and done, you've got a real chance. You could go I think you could go north of that with alternates and whatnots. Interesting. So I think we came up with a list here that's got 3, 7, 12, 13 potential, we think, Pro Bowlers and alternates in the mix.
We react to it all tomorrow.
Yeah, well, that's good. They give us a little bit of content. We appreciate that.
There we go. Exactly. Break time, my friend. We still got to meet the Bengals. We got to hear from Mr. Flacco.
Yeah, we got a lot to do.
Come. Higher or lower?
Let's start with Joe Flacco, and we'll do that next. Meet the
Okay.
Bengals. You know what? Bengals, Schmengels, eliminated. Next, Joe Flacco, starting quarterback of your still in the playoffs Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, a sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio. Congratulations to our 2023 Browns Fan of the Year, Kathy. Kathy is a retired elementary school PE teacher, and we surprised her with a tour of our practice facility where she met Joel Bitonio, Joe Thomas, of course, Yellowstone, and me. We're excited to send Kathy to Super Bowl as she represents the Browns for a chance to be named the NFL's Ultimate Fan of the Year. Head to clevelandbrowns.com/fan of the year 2024 to learn more. From earlier today, our starting quarterback, Joe Flacco, was at the podium.
What are your thoughts about playing?
You're down.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, you do what Coach says, and you go out there and you treat it just like any other one.
What's your personal history with the Ravens?
In situations like this, you mean?
Would you play or not?
I think we only had one opportunity, and it was the year we won, and I hadn't missed a start at that point. I think we ended up playing like a series, something like that.
Are you a believer in, momentum matters in the playoffs?
I mean, hitting your stride definitely matters, but each week is its own. I don't know if anything really matters besides getting in. And once you get in, it kind of starts over at that point. So
you probably have the most playoff experience of anybody in here. Like, are there pieces of advice that you can give the younger guys or the guys that haven't had the playoff experience that you had?
It's tough. I think everybody always wants to kind of, it's playoff atmosphere. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. I will say, like, typically in the beginning of the games, you can feel that energy a little bit, but the games settle in. I've always found it best to just go about your business the same way you always would and let the game kind of come to you. Don't try to do too much. It's just play within yourself, and the next thing you know, it'll feel like a regular game. I will say, though, in the beginning, the atmosphere, you can kind of feel the importance of it and feel a little bit of difference. But like I said, after the first few minutes, first couple drives, the game settles in, and it's another football game. So,
Joe, the fact that you've only played 5 games in 12 months, would you want to play if asked?
Listen, I think as players, you always want to get out there and play and strap it up. So that's the mindset that we have, and just kind of keep it simple like that.
How about the fact that, does it factor in at all that you could also earn an extra little $75,000 bonus if you start this thing?
No. Once again, those are things that are so far out of my mind, not for me to worry about.
I feel pretty
Is that it?
No. What about, you didn't have Cooper and you didn't have Elijah Moore for much of that game against the Jets. Is it important to reconnect with them before the playoffs?
I think as much as we can do, over the next couple weeks, sure. But that's just part of this game, man. Is like, dealing with stuff like that. I think you never know when you're going to have to. So the ability to kind of just keep going and keep your focus on what it is important. I think the main focus is just getting those guys healthy, and then dealing with what comes after that when we have to.
Sorry to be redundant, but if Coach asks you, do you want to play or what your preference is, what's your preference?
Listen, like I said, as players, you always want to get out there and strap them up. In my experiences, coaches don't usually leave that up to the players. They make the decision and they run with it. So.
The numbers say that you're amidst one of the best stretches, if not the best stretch in your career, which, considering the situation this year, is somewhat unique. Just why do you think you've been able to put together such a good stretch of football?
Listen, I think statistically, sure, you can say that. I mean, it's easy to just look at that and say that. But, I mean, I've said it before. I think that doesn't always tell the story. I mean, it can tell, it can give you an idea of what's going on, but it doesn't always tell the story. Listen, you got to give a ton of credit to just, first of all, the offensive line. I think, the pockets and just the amount of space that I've had back there to be able to get through my reads and then do some extra. I think you got to give them a ton of credit. I think you got to give a ton of credit to the wideouts. I think you got to give a ton of credit to Kevin. I mean, he's called pretty aggressive games, I would say, over the last 6 weeks, and I think it's made a little bit of a difference. So there's a lot of factors.
So acknowledging that, how do you feel compared to what the numbers say that you've been able to produce?
Well, listen, obviously it's been feeling pretty good to go out there and win football games. I don't know if you're necessarily aware of what you're doing in the moment, but to win, it feels good. So everybody's excited. I've said it before, you can see it in everybody's eyes. Like, we're all excited to go out there and play football games right now, and that's a good feeling. I'm honestly, like, at the point in my career I am, like, I could care less if I throw for a touchdown pass or not. It's about winning the football game. I think at some point in your career, like, you fight the urge to want to have, you know, good stats, and that's what you want to do, and you want to prove that you're this kind of player, that kind of player. It really doesn't matter, man. It's been nice to be able to just focus on winning football games, and everything else is secondary.
Did you come back by any chance a better quarterback after having sat out part of the season? In some ways, did you come back in better in any aspect, and if so, what might that be?
I think if you can keep yourself in shape as a quarterback, then there's no reason you shouldn't get better year after year. You just always gain little insights. For me, for sure, like just the last couple years, and then not being somewhere most of the year this year, I think you can definitely gain some perspective on, you know, just what we do for a living and how, you know, how important it is. It can give you that, you know, it just kind of removes you from the situation a little bit and allows you to, I don't know, seeing stuff from another perspective just gives you a different insight, and, you know, it reminds you, I think, in this case, of how cool it is to do what we get to do. So I think taking that into games it definitely helps you mentally.
Joe, you're obviously self-driven, and I know you probably put pressure on yourself to play well when you're out there, but because you were out for a while, has it allowed you to play a little more carefree and maybe not that you wouldn't take risks in the past, but maybe, you know, slinging around a little bit more because of it?
I think there's probably to that. Like, you think there's something to that, right? Like, you probably go into your first game and I think you can trick yourself into thinking, okay, like, it's not like people really expect that much. I'm just going to go out here and just do, you know, whatever. But, man, these games are so important that by the time game day comes around, there's a little bit of you that feels that importance, and you want to go out there and play well for your teammates. So, listen, like I just said in the last answer, I do think there's something that you can kind of refresh you get a little refresh from being away. So you're not necessarily going out there and playing more carefree, but the different perspective that you have, like I said, just, you know, when you're in the grind, you can look at it like a job. And when you're out of it, you want that job. And then when you get back to it, you know, you look at it less like a job and more like a game that you have to go out and win. So, you know, I think I would be lying if I said there wasn't some kind of factor with all that stuff, but, you know, I don't know how to perfectly word it.
When you talk your personal history in the division, we know you dominated the Browns. You had a winning record against Pittsburgh, but a losing record against Cincinnati. Does it feel like they've had your number in your career at all?
Yeah, I hate going to Cincinnati. They've always played us tough. Listen, I think my first year we beat up on them, and then after that, I mean, they got good. You know, they got good quick. I mean, you got to give credit to those guys. They've had really good football teams, and they've beat us a couple crazy ways too. They just flat out beat me and the teams I was on, and they've beaten us on fourth downs, on Hail Marys. I think every year we'd look at that, and we knew that they probably had our number a little bit, and we were doing our best to overcome it. But they're a good football team, and they have been for, you know, a really long time now. So you got to give them credit.
Do you remember your first win was against them?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Kind of crazy. I think we scored on 2 reverses, one of which was broken, and I scored on, and the second of which was actual reverse. I think maybe we kicked one more field goal that game, but yeah.
Longest run ever?
Yes, first game ever, longest run ever.
When you talked about Kevin as a play caller and the aggression he's shown, you talked about watching the Browns play from home. Like, could you tell that when you watch him? Like, did you think this is a play caller I'd like to be with or anything like that?
I don't know. I think just kind of seeing him from afar and knowing that he was with a guy that I've been with, I'm sure there was a little bit of that thought process, but other than that, didn't really have too much of an opinion.
And then when you got here, you know, you refer to the Browns as they, right? So when does they become like we? You know, is that like right as you?
Yeah.
As soon as
well, I think it's still like that weird thing. It's like when you're talking about games that they were, you know, that we were playing before I got here. It is like, what do you say? Listen. This locker room, you heard great things about it coming in before you stepped foot into it, and I felt like very quickly I became part of the we. And that's a credit to these guys around here. So.
Kind of along those lines, you can't possibly know before you got here, but do you have a sense of what impact you had in this locker room?
It's tough to look at it that way. I mean, you can tell like that people look at you, guys look at you a little bit differently just because of the fact that I've played. This is the 16th year that I've been in this league, and you can tell that guys look at you
30
because of that. I mean, I'm dealing with, you know, I always say that if I messed up in high school, I mean, I could be these kids' dads. You know, it's like so there is, you know, there's something that, you know, they probably do look at me a little bit differently just because of that. To get a sense of what kind of impact, who knows? I'm just being myself and trying to help them win games. And I think when you're yourself, that's the best chance you have to impact people. So hopefully I've had something.
You're up.
All right, that's Browns quarterback Joe Flacco at the podium. Such a likable guy. What a great story this is. Obviously, he'll get the week off. He's not concerned about it. But he heard he doesn't like going to Cincinnati. Not a problem. Doesn't have to deal with that either.
No. Sit on the sideline, eat some Skyline.
He's just so likable. It's such a great story, and part of it's why it's so great is because it's real. This is a guy who was on his couch, who had former glory. I mean, the story tells about lying on the floor with his kids, like trying to pull up highlights on YouTube. So it would be like, look, I was good, and now they're getting to see it. First quarterback in the history of the National Football League to throw for more than 250 yards and 2 touchdowns in his first 5 starts. First quarterback in Browns history to throw for 300 yards or more in 4 straight games. By the way, all of them wins. He's been incredible, absolutely incredible.
From the couch to the football field to
incredible.
Maybe a certain radio program by the end of the week.
Oh. Would you like Joe Flacco here in studio? Cleveland Browns Daily? I would. Who says no? Not me.
Who gets hurt by that?
Nobody.
No one.
I think there's a lot of winning. Speaking of winning, good thing we already have this thing in the bag because it's Guess the Spread time.
Whew.
We don't even know what's going on. Guess the spread. We're at 12-5.
I think we might be better off guessing what quarterback is going to play for which team.
All right, I'll try to do that as well. We'll see if I can name all the quarterbacks and then guess the spread. All right, see if we can go 12-6. We're at 12-5. We'll probably end up 12-6, but 13-5 would sound just delightful. Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio. For a team of injury lawyers dedicated to every client every day, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Elk & Elk's a proud partner of the Cleveland Browns. Go Browns. Gibby. Time for a little guess the spread, Gibby.
Yeah, I'm literally going through the quarterbacks.
I'm going to see if I can guess them.
It's amazing the number of ones today so far.
All right, so I'm going to do two categories here. How many of the quarterbacks I get and how many of the spreads I get. Okay.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Week number 18 in the National Football League.
Okay.
We go to Saturday, 4:30 p.m. This is great.
These
I
should
don't
be
have to
real
load in at the
games.
stadium Saturday. We're going
Yeah.
right. Might just go right to O'Malley's in the alley.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby. Winter storm moving in at the same time. Great. What goes wrong?
Nothing.
Exactly. Steelers, hopefully closing out their season on the road, visiting the Ratbirds. Pittsburgh,
Who have
at
nothing to
Baltimore.
play for.
Yes.
So my guess is this is going to be Mason Rudolph against Tyler Huntley.
I haven't heard anything official, but
That's my
I would
guess.
think that's trending that way.
Steelers are going to be favored by 2.5.
3.5. 0 for 1. Yes.
There, find your camera. There you
Yep,
go.
find the camera. I didn't know that they were doing multiple cameras.
There you go.
I mean, we've only had one camera in here for like 3 weeks.
I know.
Saturday night, 8:15, ABC,
Griff!
ESPN.
Griff on camera.
Hi,
yeah,
big
you're right
sexy.
there, Griff.
Yeah, walk through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aw.
I don't know what's happening now.
I don't know either.
What happened? What?
I don't know, but I'm a camera.
There we go.
Hi,
there we
Jenny.
go.
This is a big one in the AFC South.
Yep.
Texans, Colts. Obviously, QBs are playing in
Stroud,
this one.
Minshew.
Yes.
Colts minus 1.5.
Houston minus 1.
All right.
On the
0
road.
for 2. Okay. And one of those was a real one, so that's really 0 for 1.
Wait, what?
Well, I'm saying like the other game was like it's so hard
Yeah.
to even.
Correct.
This is not a week for the scores. We've done good by you. You paid attention. We had another winning week last week. I think Bo was 10-6. I was 9-7. We're in the 60s in games over 500 this week.
And Bo will be back Friday.
This week,
Just
stay-
FYI again.
In
everybody.
studio?
In studio.
Oh, baby.
Bo will be back.
Coming back.
Hey, man, when the kids are on break, they're at the age now where you got to take advantage of their schedule to take your
Listen,
vacation
I don't blame
schedule.
him. I don't know if people listening tell the difference. When I'm on vacation, I get roasted nonstop by you guys, as if like you're never on vacations yourselves. It's outrageous. I haven't said one bad word about it. 2 weeks, go take vacation. That's why it's there. Enjoy yourself.
Up next, we go to Sunday, Browns, Bengals, and the announcement that
All
Jeff
right.
Driscoll will
Driscoll
be the
Browning.
quarterback.
That's what everybody was expecting week 1. Driscoll Browning, Bengals minus 3.
That was the case. Bengals minus 7.
The disrespect of Driscoll.
Bulletin board material.
Yeah. Oh, my God. These backups should be incensed.
Yeah.
Incensed.
1 o'clock on Fox. Tampa Bay with a chance to go to the NFC playoffs with a win over the Carolina Panthers.
All right.
If
Baker Bryce,
hold on,
this is real.
If Tampa Bay had a real practice today, basically, if they had a full session, that's what Coach Todd Bowles said, Baker would not have practiced due to ribs.
Who's their backup? Oh, that guy.
No idea.
Kyle Trask.
Suck.
Kyle Trask. No, they drafted him. They just haven't played him because Baker's been pretty good. Bucks minus 4.5.
Right on it.
All right. First win of the day. 1-3.
Good job. 1-3. 25%. Crushing it. To the NFC North.
We're already 12-5. This week's wild.
I know.
Okay.
I know. Come on now.
All right.
Let's recover and
All right.
move forward.
There we go. Appreciate the positivity.
Vikings 7-9 visiting the 11-5 Detroit Lions. A lot to play for here for Minnesota. I think the
Nothing
Lions
for Detroit, right?
I don't think they can move anywhere. I think they're slotted at number 3. I think. I don't know.
I don't know either. It's Jaron Hall against Jared Goff. If Goff plays, I'm going to pretend like Goff is playing for this line. Detroit minus 7.
Detroit minus 3.
All right, so they don't think he's playing though, or not. They're not.
Yeah, I don't have an answer
They might
on
not
that
be playing
team.
for anything.
Speaking of two teams playing for absolutely bupkis, the Jets 6-10 visiting the 4-12 Patriots. 1:00 on Fox. Two AFC teams on Fox. Could be Bill Belichick's last game. That'll be what everybody talks about on Sunday.
Yeah. Patriots, where? Give me that again.
Patriots at home to close it out against the New York Football Jets.
Zappy.
Zach Wilson out for the rest of the year, by the way. Still in concussion protocol.
Simeon Zappy.
Yeah, I think so. It's gross.
Patriots -2.5.
Patriots -2.
All right, 2-4.
2-4. That could be in a blizzard. There's some nor'easter coming
Going
up the
through?
coast. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That could be interesting. NFC South action. These two teams will both be watching that Tampa Bay-Carolina game. New Orleans at 8-8, hosting the gutless Atlanta Falcons, 7-9.
Saints -1.5.
Saints -3.
All right.
What are you laughing at?
Uno, as soon as I say it, Uno goes, shakes his head. Saints -3. Vegas has liked the Saints this year. This could be wild down there in the NFC South.
Correct.
Somebody get in at 8-9.
I hope not.
The Saints win.
I know, but like
They get in at 8-9. If they win and Tampa loses, they get in at 8-9.
Yeah, I don't want that.
I mean, the best it's going to be is 9-8. Gibbe. It's not like it's like I'm not setting the world
that's
on fire.
fine. Give me 9-8. Give me don't. I don't want a team getting into the playoffs with a losing record, knowing how many good teams with winning records are not getting in.
All right, fair enough.
To the AFC South we go. The Tennessee Titans, Nashville, hosting Jacksonville. The Jaguars 9-7. The Frisky Titans 5-11. Not so frisky recently, if you ask my
Jags
people.
-5.
Jags -5.5.
Thank you, Uno.
Is there any chance Mike Vrabel's the coach of the Patriots a year from now? Mark that down for Fact or Fiction Sunday. There you go, Uno.
Here, let me add to you and make it a little more juicy. Say,
is he coaching the Buckeyes?
That's right. That's right. Okay.
I'd like to see it.
3-5.
All right. To the late day games. 4:25. Arizona closing out their season 4-12, hosting the 8-8 Seattle Seahawks. Big game for the Hawks.
Who have something to play for.
You're darn
in
right.
Arizona.
Yes.
Seattle -3.
Seattle -2.5.
4-5. Here we go.
Good job by you. Here we go. Don't call it a comeback. The NFC Norris division, the Packers, a lot to play for. 8-8. Playing host to the Chicago Bears, 7-9, winners of 2 in a row.
I like them. Pack -3.
Right on it, and we are knotted up at 5.
There we go, baby.
Chiefs are going to sit Mahomes. Blaine Gabbert gets the start for Kansas City on the road to close out the regular season. Chiefs visiting the gutless Chargers, 5-11.
Gabbert and Stick. I mean, look at that vest. Look at him. The vest.
I don't. It's like the J. Peterman catalog.
The vest is, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Chiefs -1.5.
Chargers -3.5. There's no way you would have gotten that.
No.
No way. I don't even know how you'd come up with that silly number, except the Chiefs
they're
not
saying,
playing anybody.
I guess they're not playing anybody, and they say the Chargers are still playing people, even though it's with Easton Stick.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they just got. Didn't the Chargers get rocked by some Denver last week, right?
Yeah. Denver, who was playing, I forget who at quarterback.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Not Russell Wilson.
Jarrett
Stidham.
Thank you. Yeah, he's not any better. Zagura could go in there and give him a few snaps. There you go. AFC West. I'm nice today.
Thank you.
Raiders, 7-9. Had a great, valiant comeback under their interim coach. It will fall short. They host the 8-8 Denver Broncos, who refuse to play their multi-million-dollar quarterback.
Raiders -2.5.
Raiders -3.
All right,
Good job.
6-6.
6-6. Somehow you have fought back here, buddy.
Fought back.
We have 4 games left.
Okay.
Eagles 11-5 visiting the G-Men 5-11 425. This one's on CBS. It is mass chaos here in terms of who's playing on what channel.
So Philly at the Giants.
Yes.
Philly.
A lot to play for depending on what the Cowboys do.
Philly -7.5.
Philly -5.
5, man. Vegas down on them. Okay. All right.
That's crazy to me because the Giants are just in disarray. NFC West. Rams. Carson Wentz will get the start for the Los Angeles Rams on Sunday. That'll be interesting. Carson Wentz taking on the San Francisco 49ers, number 1 seed at 12-4.
Did you say what?
Carson Wentz is starting for the Rams on Sunday.
And the Niners aren't playing anybody either.
I would assume the Rams are. Or the
So
49ers
nobody's
are.
playing anybody. The Niners are still better. Niners -3.
-3.5. There you go.
All right, 7. I need these last 2. By the way, enough from the clown says, really sad to hear Nathan Zagura giving Uncle Bo Bishop grief for taking a well-deserved and earned vacation. Nice to hear Gibbe standing up for Bo. I didn't give him any grief. I was pro his vacation. I was just pointing out the difference is when I'm gone, I get a ton of grief.
Yes. Yes.
By the way, when we were not on vacation but were working in L.A., we got grief every single day.
We did. We got a lot of grief. We worked very hard out in L.A. That was a long trip. We both came back with the plague.
Yes.
Yeah.
Monday was very nice. I got to golf Monday.
And Friday
night.
Friday night was spectacular with the Aussies.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was great.
That was
late
level.
night, and the other one was after the program.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think we put in a full day. I mean, we were
did.
We were doing hits from a shed at UCLA.
Yes.
A
Chapped
shed.
lips, wind.
Yeah.
A cold breeze.
Correct.
All right.
If
7
we
and
don't
7.
have to go back, I'm fine with that. 7-7.
though.
Stop it. With 2
Next
games
year.
to play. Cowboys 11-5 visiting the 4-12 Commanders. This is the kind of game that the Cowboys could screw up.
No way. Dallas -10.
Vegas says Cowboys -13.
Wow.
-13.
So there's an 8-point difference between Dallas at Washington and Philly at the Giants.
Sam Howell's going to start for Washington. Not that it matters.
I know. Poor Jacoby. He got hurt in practice.
Yeah. Final one, Sunday night foosball. Buffalo 10-6 visiting the battered 11-5 Miami Dolphins for the AFC East Championship.
Bills -3.5.
Bills -3, and you finish at 8-8.
It's a 12-5-1 for the season. We'll do it in the playoffs too, but these are the real slates here. Not bad.
That's pretty darn good.
Pleased.
So the Rams are starting Wentz. Mayfield, who knows if he's going to be able to play. Blaine Gabbert starts for KC. Driscoll for the Browns. Trevor Lawrence is day-to-day. Sam Howell starting for Washington. We're assuming the 49ers and the Ravens are going to sit their guys.
It's crazy.
It's either going to be feast or famine Sunday football watching.
It's crazy. We'll be on the famine side of that. We'll be on the famine. Drive around, take a listen to me and Jim. We'll have some fun.
We are going to have a lot of fun.
This isn't glued to the TV Sunday.
No.
Save yourself up. Get yourself ready. That comes.
Get yourself ready.
Another weekend. One more weekend from now. All right, when we come back, a little better or worse. Higher or lower. Better or worse. Coming up on Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. Be sure to check out the Browns' social media channels to play the Browns digital scratch-off game for your chance to win club seats and other great prizes presented by the Ohio Lottery, the official lottery partner of the Cleveland Browns. Actually, the official lottery period of the Cleveland Browns. Higher or lower is presented by Keep It Fun Ohio from the Ohio Lottery, offering easy ways to keep gambling fun. This week, our NFL Power Rankings come to us via Pete Prisco and CBS Sports Gibbe.
I feel like Prisco has to be on next week.
If it's us and the Jags, he's got to be on.
He has to come on.
Agreed. Fine.
I'm going to start putting that in his ear.
I don't know if he can handle it after. Will he ever come back after the Nick Chubb, Ezekiel Elliott trial of Pete Prisco?
If we just don't bring it up, like it happened.
We know what happened.
If he wants to go down a road that somehow throws some shade at us, then
not going to happen.
Then we
I
bring
love
it up.
Pete.
And
he's not. First of all, he's not going to do that. Second of all, he's not going to do that.
Correct. Pete Prisco's Power Rankings, CBSSports.com. Again, presented by Keep It Fun Ohio from the Ohio Lottery, offering easy ways to keep gambling fun. The biggest movers in his power poll: Cowboys up 6, Seahawks down 6. Number 1, the Ravens. Number 2, the 49ers. It takes us to number 3, Nick Paulus.
Higher or lower?
The Dallas Cowboys at 11-5. Higher, lower, or just right?
How do they go up 6 spots in his rankings when it feels like they lost the game?
Yeah.
To a team that went down 3 spots in the rankings.
I don't know the answer to that.
It could be right. I don't know. I like the Bills a lot. I like us a lot. It feels like a big leap for a game that I felt like I watched and they lost.
Yeah. I thought they played well, but I didn't think they played well enough.
At the end of the game, their vaunted defense watched the Lions go right down the field, score, and then get a 2-point conversion.
Yeah, exactly. Next.
Higher or lower?
The Bills, number 4. The Browns, number 5. And Pete Prisco's comments: Kevin Stefanski is the coach of the year for getting this team to the playoffs with so many injuries, and Joe Flacco resurrecting his career. Amazing.
Yes.
Number 5. Higher, lower, just right.
I like that. I think that's just right. I think that's probably where we belong. I like that we're ahead of a lot of the teams that are currently seated ahead of us. You know, we're the only team with 11 wins or 10 wins even that has had multiple quarterbacks. All the other ones have had 1. Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts. And we've had 5 now with Driscoll. Now, some of these are going to get to 2.
Yeah.
But if you take it through this point of the season, they all had 1, and we had 4.
Yeah. Next.
Higher or lower?
The Miami Dolphins are number 6. They dropped 4 spots after getting beat down by the Ravens. Higher, lower, or just right for Miami? They're banged up.
They're banged up. Like right now, it feels the Bills. Vegas thinks the Bills are favored. All of it. They are in the playoffs, but they could very well limp into the playoffs. I'd put them behind the Lions right now. I like the Lions better than them.
I think the Lions are playing really good football, and I think that they don't fear anybody.
No.
Next.
Higher or lower?
Would you put the Chiefs ahead of them?
The Dolphins? I don't know. They feel pretty broken to me.
Speaking of broken teams.
They don't seem great. The Eagles don't seem great right now. I kind of like the Rams, even though they should have probably lost to the Giants. They feel a little bit dangerous to me. They feel frisky.
The more dangerous team, Buffalo or Los Angeles?
Buffalo. Buffalo's dangerous.
I think given McVay time to prepare.
McVay's very good. Buffalo's dangerous.
Okay.
Listen, this is a huge game. That's a fun game. Bills Dolphins. That is a fun game with
luckily,
a lot of
short flight. We should be home
with Buffalo. We'll know everything going in that one. Where the one scenario that could happen, where for them it's actually win the division, lose, you're out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
We'll know. Or it's going to be whoever wins the division. Whoever loses is the 6th seed.
Dolphins are 6th. Lions 7. Chiefs 8. Eagles 9. The Rams are number 10. The Jaguars number 11. And it takes us to number 12. And the Houston Texans. Higher, lower, or just right for the 9-7 Houston Texans?
I like them better than the Jags right now, but I think he's got the top 12 right. Not necessarily in the right order, but those are the top 12 teams, and then I think there's a big drop-off after that. So, yeah, I'm
I
fine
would
with
put
it.
the Texans ahead of the Jags.
I
right
would
now.
too, but the Jags are dangerous. They're playoff tested. Last year they were getting smoked at home by the Chargers and made an incredible comeback and then took the Chiefs, to the limit.
So you say that he's got the top 12 right. Who would be number 12 for you? Would it be
It
Jacksonville
probably
right now?
would be Jacksonville for me.
Okay. All right. Texans or Rams?
Rams.
So the AFC South teams occupying those last two spots, essentially.
Yeah.
All right. Next.
Higher or lower?
The Pukers are 13. We haven't talked about it yet this week, but can we talk about the fact that no one wants to play backup quarterback for the Pukers? And then they deny that they wanted.
But didn't they just bench Pickett?
Well, Pickett was like, I'm not doing this, and then was like, I denied. He came out and denied that he.
Yeah.
And then I guess Trubisky doesn't necessarily want to be the backup either to this guy.
To Mason Rudolph?
Yeah.
Why?
By the way, the Steelers' offense looked pretty good with Mason Rudolph the last 2 weeks.
He's been playing great.
Yeah.
He's playing great. Mike Tomlin, 17 straight non-losing seasons, and they wanted to run him out of town earlier this year, which is just insane to me.
I mean, I would put the Packers ahead of the Squealers. I don't know if I'd put Tampa Bay ahead of them.
I don't know.
I'd
They beat the Packers at home early this year, kind of in a crazy game. I still think the Bucs have to be better than them. They just beat the Steelers in Seattle in a game they had to win. I don't know. I think to me, it's like after those 12 teams, it's kind of iffy.
Sure.
It's kind of iffy.
Okay, so
I kind of like the Bears right now, to be honest with you. I'd jump the Bears way up from 20. I'd put the Bears. I think the Bears right now beat the Steelers. How about that? That's my hot take. Bears 13, and their offseason is going to be crazy.
multiple people now. Multiple people have said Justin Fields will be the quarterback of the Squealers next year.
Squealers?
Yeah.
No. Falcons. Stop.
Multiple.
No.
In the last week.
I'm pretty sure he's not going to be the quarterback of the Bears next year.
I would agree with that.
Even though he's been great and you got a lot of players that want him. Listen, that stuff happens.
Yep.
It's better for him and better for them. Honestly. Now, you can make the case that if they really felt that Fields was the guy, you trade the one for a bunch of ones, surround him with a super team. But this just gives you an opportunity to reset the clock on your salary issues by 3 years. And you have a lot of good pieces in place. It just makes too much sense. They got to trade him.
Fields, go play in a dome.
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Not Steelers. Who says that?
I've heard it from multiple people.
Who?
Top people.
Uno, you believe this?
I mean, I've also seen it before that Steelers fans are already, they were clamoring for it weeks ago that they wanted Justin Fields to be the quarterback.
I'm talking about fans. I've seen a lot of links to Atlanta from NFL sources.
The Steelers smoke is definitely picking up recently. I've seen some people talking about, especially because they're giving up on Pickett. Like, they don't want him.
I'm not interested in that.
I don't want any part of that.
No.
Nobody does.
No.
I want to root for the guy. He's a Buckeye.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, maybe does he have any eligibility left? Because I feel like the Buckeyes need a quarterback
and
a few other things. Next.
Higher or lower?
All right, I'm jumping all the way to the end because there's a whole bunch of 7 and 9 slop here
yeah.
and 5 and 11. The Panthers are the worst team. Do you agree that the Commies are 31? He's got the Chargers 30 and the Patriots 29.
I'd go Commies. I would go
Simply
Panthers
on
32nd,
talent.
Patriots 31st.
Commies 30.
Yeah, and the Cardinals should be way higher. The Cardinals are frisky and fun. I like the Cardinals.
Okay, who are you putting the Cardinals ahead of?
The Raiders, the Broncos, the Falcons, the Vikings.
Really?
The Seahawks, the Bengals.
I think
Saints,
you're out of your mind.
The Bucks.
Nah.
Now, dude, I like the Cardinals right now.
Well, they
They're
just
fun.
beat
They
Philadelphia.
Philly.
Everybody likes it.
In Philly. We had that on the scores.
That's today's Higher or Lower, presented by the Ohio Lottery.
All right. So much more to come. Not really.
Not really.
So much more to come. Cleveland Browns Daily brought to you by Ballybet. Be sure to catch the Browns preview show tonight from 7 to 8 on the University Hospital's Cleveland Browns radio network. Running back Jerome Ford. Gibby, I'm going to give you one chance right here. Jerome Ford, total yards and total touchdowns this season. Total yards.
7 touchdowns.
Okay.
Total yards, 1,200.
1,100 total yards, 9 total touchdowns. Pretty good.
I'm winning.
Pretty good. Yeah, no, you're winning. That's good. That's very good by you. They're all coming up as well as the voice of the Browns, Jim Donovan, joining Ken Carman and Gerard Cherry tonight. That's the Cleveland Browns preview show. Tomorrow night's the Kevin Stefanski show. Head coach Kevin Stefanski, myself, Gerard, Sione Taki in a fun, long interview. You're welcome. All right, everybody. Thanks for being with us. Thanks to the great Gibbe. Thanks to Uno, the great Griff as well. Nathan Zagura saying stay tuned. The next level is next. You've been listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Yellowstone sighting.